You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network, live every Sunday with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Fabulous.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
And a very good morning, 8:06 at the time now on this Sunday, or as I like to call them, Sunday Fun Days. And
that's right.
Patty Pyburn joining me to my right here. We're in the process of building a new anchor desk. Well, I call it an anchor desk, but
radio anchor desk.
A radio anchor desk, exactly. It'll loop around in here.
Make our life a lot easier desk.
Yes, it's kind of cluttered and it doesn't really work for us very well. But at any rate, enough of the nuts and bolts that we go through here in the morning. How's your day at home? Hopefully off to a great start. Or if you are living in San Luis Obispo, where we broadcast the show from, we just want to give you a heads up. It is the San Luis Obispo City to See Marathon. We got a little glimpse of that this morning as we came into work. I received a flyer here at work telling us that this area might be shut down. But I swear, I need to find that flyer. I swear it said Saturday and not Sunday. Because I remember looking at it and thinking, oh, well, that won't affect me. Wrong. I would have told our in-studio guests about that,
what they might be dealing with.
Right, for parking and that sort of thing. Okay, so straight ahead on this hour of the program, we are learning how to keep our exercise routines on track. We will be joined by Dr. Robert Hopper with his new book, Stick with Exercise. And I think all of us have been there before, where you...
I don't know what you're talking about. What?
Where you start out with a routine. You're telling all your friends, I'm jogging every morning. I'm lapping the pool. I'm riding my bike to work, whatever.
And then one little kink and you get out of your routine.
That's
I have
exactly
to say
what it is.
that you are first assuming that we have a routine, Randall.
That's true, too. Some of us are really good. Anthony, how long have you been hiking the mountain over here?
16 months.
16 months straight. And
that is good.
He goes just about every day. And so that's pretty impressive. So we'll hear some of his tips too, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, that's our first guest. Then, I don't know if you've seen this in the news headlines, but what is plaguing California dairy farms? There's a lot of them that are riding that fine line of going out of business. Bankruptcy sort of thing. And so we'll hear a little bit about that. And then during our travel deals segment, an Eat, Drink, Explore exclusive. Have you ever been to the Grand Tetons, Jackson Hole, Wyoming?
Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah, it's beautiful, huh?
Yes.
There's a lodge there that is pretty impressive, and our listeners only are getting a special deal. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. And then next hour, our Compass Hour has a lot to offer as well. Our word is life. Patty, do you have your trivia questions ready for that one?
I do. There were kind of too many different ways you could go with that one, but I think I landed on a good topic.
Okay, good. I have some great questions for you.
Hints.
And then based on that word, we will be talking political life, specifically wine surrounding political life. Here's the Republican version.
Randall definitely belongs to a party.
The wine party. And then if you're looking online right now, you're looking at the bottles. One has an elephant on it. One has a Democrat or a donkey. And I was trying to think of the polite term for it,
Donkey.
Donkey, yes. And so at any rate, we will talk a little bit about wine and political life. And then, let's see, what are the other life teachings via beer. It's there.
Okay, that's what bartenders do, right?
Yes. And then, here's my list right in front of me. And then we're headed to the Monterey County Ag and Rural Life Museum, which
cool.
I've driven past it a zillion times, didn't even know it was there. Patty, you probably... All right, it is time for the news, and Patty Pyburn, what do we have?
Well, this morning from the Eat, Drink, Explore news desk, on this Sunday morning, Cal OSHA is investigating a horrific death in the LA area at the Bumblebee seafood plant. A state spokeswoman told the Whittier Daily News that an employee was cooked to death in an industrial oven at its Santa Fe Springs location. The 62-year-old was found unresponsive about 7 in the morning on Thursday. At this point, there is no information on how the employee ended up in the oven.
That is awful.
Yeah, it really is. More details to follow. In some lighter news, though, Space Shuttle Endeavour is now parked at the California Science Center, its new home in Los Angeles. Excuse me. I'm dealing with little allergies this morning. The shuttle made a 12-mile trip from LAX Friday and Saturday. Can you imagine it takes that long to move that giant thing?
I watched part of it, yeah.
Yeah, I did too. Huge crowds came out to the city streets to watch the spacecraft make the trip with very few problems. The public will get to see Endeavour up close and personal starting October 30th in a temporary display pavilion while the Science Center finishes building its permanent home, which will be a large home. Several large business groups are suing New York over its big soda ban. It's going to go into effect this coming spring. The National Restaurant Association and the American Beverage Association and several others are behind this lawsuit, saying that the upcoming ban is unfair. New York's Mayor Michael Bloomberg's office says the lawsuit is groundless. The ban is a limit on sugary beverages, limiting it to portions of 16 ounces or less.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I thought for sure there'd be a lawsuit on that one, you know.
You can't tell me how much soda I can drink. You just have to get a second one, I guess. All right. So let's hope the upcoming marriage for one groom isn't as rocky as his bachelor party on the San Francisco Bay. A group of 22 people had to be rescued from a boat called the Neptune Friday night. It hit rocks near Alcatraz Island. The company bills this boat as San Francisco Bay's only floating wine tasting room and says it's a 1958 classic cabin cruiser. Now, the U.S. Coast Guard says the Neptune started taking on water just before 9 in the evening through a 1-foot gash in the hull.
Oh, that's not the
Bachelor
way to
party's going down.
But at least everyone was rescued safely.
Yes.
Now, Patty,
Put a damper on things.
I wrote that piece for
Yes,
Patty.
you did. Thank you.
And I've worked with her for years in the news, and I know she doesn't like sometimes catchy, funny sort of leads to a story. But
The Rocky.
yeah, but you didn't seem to have a problem with it.
You
Good.
missed mine. I put a damper on the party.
Oh.
I wanted at least a courtesy laugh
Right,
for
I'm
that.
sorry. There we go. I should have my
do you
little
want to
laugh
check on the
sound.
weather?
Yes, please.
Okay, warm up on the way if you hadn't already noticed this morning. For California, temperatures nearing the 100-degree mark for some southern coastal cities, 80s to the north. A seasonal offshore flow is keeping the cooling fog at a distance, which I'm actually waiting for the fog to return. I had enough of the heat, a week or so ago. But
I liked the rain we had this week. That
it was a
kinda,
nice change.
Everything smelled so good.
Okay, this heat wave is peaking on Wednesday. Winds will not be too strong, though. We're not expecting anything like Santa Ana type situation, but still warm over the next couple of days.
Yeah, in fact, here in San Luis, I know the forecast is in the low 90s for Wednesday, and as we go up the coast,
Lovely.
In some areas it could hit that 100-degree mark again. Which, I'm like you said, in mid-October, I'm kind of over it. At that point,
Exactly.
I don't want any more of those heat
So
waves.
over.
Well, Patty, thank you for the newscast. We've got the whole show ahead of us now and some fantastic guests, starting with our very first guest, Dr. Robert Hopper. He has a book out called Stick with Exercise for a Lifetime. I have a hard time doing it for a month. So I don't know how we're going to do it for an entire lifetime, but he is in studio with us right now and will be joining us right after the commercial break. He has 7 practices to help you. 7 tips.
Okay.
So we'll go down those one at a time coming up next. And what do you need, Patty?
The book.
Oh, here.
You have your own copy over there.
I do have my own copy over here. Oh, by the way, we're giving away a signed copy on the air, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. We'll have the 800 number for you to call. You're listening to Eat, Drink, Explore. Back in a moment. For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source.
Hi, this is Vanessa North, owner of Lewis Wine Bar, San Luis Obispo's new popular downtown destination for local wines and craft beers in a gorgeous lounge setting. The wine list at Lewis refreshes monthly, offering approximately 50 different wines from SLO, Santa Barbara, and Monterey counties, with about half available by the glass. Lewis Wine Bar isn't just about the wine, though. Craft beer lovers will find themselves in heaven with our extensive list, including 4 rotating draft handles and scores of interesting bottled brews. Lewis has a light menu of appetizers, including cheese, salami, and our famous bacon s'mores. Here's something you don't hear every day. We welcome outside food, so you can bring your farmer's market cuisine or order local takeout and eat it right here at our bar. So whether you're a slow local or just passing through town, we always welcome you here at Lewis Wine Bar. To find out exactly where we are, you can check us out at lewiswinebar.com. That's L-U-I-S, like San Luis Obispo.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
Jessica.
Hi, Mrs. Johnson. Is Megan there?
Sure. Follow me. The kids are in the kitchen making sandwiches.
Hey, Julie. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Megan. Hey, Megan.
Yeah?
You're a total freak. God, you're ugly. And dumb. Oh, and your makeup makes you look like a tramp. Tommy Morris told me you guys made out. Everybody knows. The whole school knows. He said your breath smelled like garbage. And that dress is totally hideous. You look like a big fat clown. Disgusting. Oh, and by the way, nice zit.
If you wouldn't say it in person, why say it online? Delete cyberbullying. Don't write it, don't forward it. For more information, visit ncpc.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, Crime Prevention Coalition of America, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
And a very good morning, everyone. 8:19 the time on this Sunday. We're a turning point here in California when it comes to weather. We're in that mix of that fall mix when one week it can be raining and kind of on the cool side, and then the next week can be pushing 100 degrees depending on where you are. So this is going to be one of those warm weeks.
Yes.
But today should be really nice.
It should be nice, clear skies, sunny, warm. If you enjoy warm, perfect. Could be a good beach day.
Yeah.
And warmer all the way until Wednesday.
I'm your host, Randall White. That's Patty Piper. And
good morning.
Talking to my right. It's good exercise weather, Patty. You're going to get out and do some running. Patty, you run and walk. Oh, like the Bob Jones Trail and places like that.
Yeah, but I'm one of those people that's fallen off my plan. I have a good excuse. I have a really good excuse.
What's your excuse?
A master's program and 2 jobs.
That is a good excuse.
And 2 kids.
And 2 kids. And that's the problem. I think a lot of us have exercise routines. Mine the one I stick with all the time is riding my bike into work. But then I have some additional ones that I like to do, like lapping the pool or adding extra long rides in. And sometimes I'm on it, and then sometimes I'm not. Right now, I'm getting back on it again. But how do you?
You were doing really well for a while.
I was. And then I didn't feel good for a few days.
And then you got out of your routine
zing. That's it. Exactly. So we're going to find out how to keep you from doing that at home. Stick with it. Stick with your exercise routine for an entire lifetime. That's what our guest says. Robert Hopper, Dr. Robert Hopper, joins us right now. He came up from Santa Barbara this morning, and we appreciate it. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Randall. Glad to be here.
Yes. And so, Doctor, your book, it's a nice, easy size. You can take it with you while you're while you're exercising. Contains 7 main points, right?
Yeah, they're called best practices. This is what the most successful exercisers use. So if people follow the best practices, it's almost impossible not to succeed with exercise.
How did you come up with them?
Well, I was an athlete. I was an NC2A swimming champion, and I was also a college swimming coach. And when I looked at what athletes do, they all use these best practices. And I said, well, that makes sense. That's why I was always successful. Maybe it will apply to the average American. And I think it does.
And your first one is, and some people think of exercise as fun. Some people think of it as like a giant chore. But you say focus on fun.
Absolutely. The single most important thing you can do is to develop an exercise program around something that's fun to do. If something's fun to do, then you're not going to decide to do other things. You'll always have time for exercise. So for people who are not exercising, try to find something that's fun to do and make that the core aspect of your exercise program.
And choose, for instance, I don't like running, so I never run. But I don't even think of bike riding as exercise. To me,
it's getting you where you're going.
It's getting me where I'm going, and when I'm doing it, I'm just enjoying the feel of the air going past me, and I'm not even conscious of the fact that I'm burning calories. So that's what you should be doing.
Well, let's take it a step further. In my book, in Chapter 1, I list over 100 different recreational and leisure activities that people can do. So let's say you like to run. Great, then you should run. But if you don't like to run, well, how about rollerblading, or maybe playing basketball or volleyball or softball or swimming or skiing? I mean, there's over 100 different activities that people can do that form the core of the exercise program. That's the thing that you'll keep as a habit. Let's say dance, for example. If you dance one day a week in a dance class, you're going to eventually develop that as your habit for exercise. And when that habit develops, then you're more likely to do other things that will add to the activity of your lifestyle.
Now, I tend to be the kind of exerciser who, if I don't have it all perfect, I don't have my shoes with me, I don't have a whole hour to walk, I only have a half an hour, I kind of talk myself out of it. If I don't have all the optimum pieces together, well, it's just, okay, it's only a half an hour and I have to wear those other shoes that I don't like. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So what...
Well, now that I wish if we had time.
I'm a special case.
You are a special case, Patty.
Patty, in Chapter 7 in the book, I deal with the idea of how to just do it.
Okay.
You know, Nike made their commercials with the idea of just do it, but that begs the question, how do you get yourself to just do it? Right. So athletes have a variety of mental strategies that they use. For example, when you watch the Olympics, you heard about Michael Phelps visualizing his event. Okay.
Right.
Visualization is a strategy that all athletes use, and if you use that strategy yourself, each day to visualize yourself successfully exercising, that's one of the things that you can do.
Okay.
Also, I call it the psych up. The psych up is just where you put the motivational things that what you want to achieve, what you want to look like, how you want to do it, what fun you want to have, and you put it in your iPhone. And then every morning at 7:15, my psych up comes up on my screen. I read the psych up, and I said, oh yeah, this is going to be a great day. I've got lots of things I want to do.
So you're like your self-motivation, your self-pep talk?
And you send it to yourself.
Yeah, you just, I just put it a daily activity, and it comes up every day at 7:15.
Right.
But that's what athletes do. They psych themselves up for their events. They psych themselves up for workouts. They visualize the workouts. And there's a couple other strategies called the self-con, which is my favorite one, and also how to develop mental toughness. But those are fun topics to read about.
You say to get coaching. I would imagine part of that coaching is what you just said. You're kind of coaching yourself along. But does this mean professional coaching?
It means professional coaching.
Okay.
Let's say you decide, I like to use dancing because everybody can dance. And
You haven't seen
That's what you say.
right.
almost everybody can dance. But in Santa Barbara, we have a whole bunch of swing dancing classes, ballroom dancing. I'm sure they have it up here as well.
Yeah.
So you don't know how to do dancing, but you think it'd be really fun. Okay? Don't let the fact that you don't know how to do it stop you. The secret is take a lesson. Get in a class with a bunch of other people who share your interest in exercise, and then take that class once a week.
I've thought of doing salsa dancing. I think that would be kind of fun.
It would be fun to see.
Yeah.
So-
margaritas afterwards.
So Randall, let's say salsa dancing is your thing. Once a week, take a salsa dancing class. And when you take that salsa dancing class, you go through the beginning series of lessons, let's say 10 lessons. And you say, wow, I'm still having fun. Well, now you're ready for the intermediate. So you do the intermediate series of lessons and you're still having fun, and now you're probably be able to go out to the different clubs and dance. And you're still having fun. You take the advanced, and pretty soon you've got a lifestyle that is built around salsa dancing. Now, when you're salsa dancing, you might say, oh, I could do better in salsa dancing if I were a little bit more fit. So now you might find a new reason to ride that bicycle in addition to health. And that's the whole idea. When you find something that's fun to do, every athlete in the world, they got into their sports because it was fun, but every athlete in the world uses fitness as a supplement to get in better shape.
I'm feeling pumped up just talking to the doctor.
You're ready to
here.
go dance.
Right, I know. Well, I'm tied to this chair for the next hour and a half, but at home you're not. You can get us on the radio and put it in your ears and go out for a run, whatever it may be. Dr. Robert Hopper's book, Stick with Exercise, he will autograph a copy of the book for you to our 7th caller. Since he has 7 tips, we'll take the 7th caller.
And you know what? I was reading it, Randall, and it's an easy read. Good information in there.
Great information. Here's the number. 855, so it's toll free wherever you're calling from. 855-726-3658. That's 855-726-3658. Or if you're one of those people who like to spell things on it, it is 855-RANDOL, RANDOL 8, which I do a lot of.
And is that the number 8, Randall 8?
The number 8, yes. So 855-726-3658. Cora, our producer, will be taking the calls right now. Caller number 7, a signed copy is yours from Dr. Robert Hopper, who came up from Santa Barbara this morning, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, good information.
We have time for one more point from this list, and
What's his favorite point? Oh, go ahead. Do you have one?
Well, I think it falls into what you were talking
Okay.
about. Protect your time.
Oh, that's a
Patty
good one.
has way too many things going on. What do you mean by protect your time?
Protect your time. Athletes learn you have to create blocks of time for workout. So every workout when I was in college, 3 to 5:30, I blocked that time. So start with a small block, 1 day a week that is inviolate. Nothing is going to stop you from doing exercise, Patty, on that 1 day. Now, when that 1 day becomes a habit, then you can go to 2 days.
You can build.
When that comes to habit 3. Now, let's say I'm your boss and I say, Patty, can you come and help me with something? And you say, I'd love to, but I have an appointment or I have a meeting.
If I say I'm going to go for a walk, they're going to go, you can go for a walk anytime.
The words appointment and meeting are powerful.
Okay.
Dr. Robert Hopper, your book available to one of our listeners right now, 855-726-3658. Thank you for coming up today. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Randall. Thanks, Patty.
We're back in just a moment.
Hi, this is Vanessa North, owner of Lewis Wine Bar, San Luis Obispo's new popular downtown destination for local wines and craft beers in a gorgeous lounge setting. The wine list at Lewis refreshes monthly, offering approximately 50 different wines from SLO, Santa Barbara, and Monterey counties, with about half available by the glass. Lewis Wine Bar isn't just about the wine, though. Craft beer lovers will find themselves in heaven with our extensive list, including 4 rotating draft handles and scores of interesting bottled brews. Lewis has a light menu of appetizers, including cheese, salami, and our famous bacon s'mores. Here's something you don't hear every day. We welcome outside food, so you can bring your farmer's market cuisine or order local takeout and eat it right here at our bar. So whether you're a slow local or just passing through town, we always welcome you here at Lewis Wine Bar. To find out exactly where we are, you can check us out at lewiswinebar.com. That's L-U-I-S, like San Luis Obispo.
Hello, this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I want to tell you about my new favorite discovery, Yosemite National Park.
I recently went there with my husband and children, and we walked the trails to see the breathtaking waterfalls, admired the grand meadows and giant sequoias. But the future of our national parks is uncertain. Many challenges face our parks today, from polluted air and water to development threats outside their borders and inadequate funding to protect our national heritage. That's why the National Parks Conservation Association recently completed a decade-long assessment of the challenges facing our national parks, along with proposed actions that will ensure our children and grandchildren will be able to enjoy the parks as we have. Our national parks have inspired Americans for nearly 100 years. As we approach the centennial of the National Park Service in 2016, please join us in helping to protect our national park legacy. Find out how at www.npca.org.
What if it wasn't always about getting ahead? What if you didn't care about being on the fast track? What if your career goals were to change? Instead of flying off to the big interview, what if you flew somewhere else altogether? To embark on a different track, to volunteer in ways you never dreamed of, in places you never imagined yourself being, like a tiny island in the Pacific, barely visible on a map, but where needs are easy to see, or a village on the African continent, where just a little training in HIV awareness can change the fate of thousands. What if you decided to share your skills with others and help someone else get ahead? Peace Corps. Life is calling. How far will you go? To find out more, call 800-424-8580 or visit peacecorps.gov.
Eat, Drink, Explore Media is your lifestyle information source. Our focus, food, wine, craft beer, travel, and tourism trends, with a slant towards sustainable and healthy options. Whether it's hot deals or tips for hotels and flights, an update on what's currently fresh at your local farmers market, with the latest restaurant and beverage news, we've got you covered from 8 to 10 each and every Saturday morning. Live on Crush 92.5 in San Luis Obispo County and online at eatdrinkexplore.com. Also, check out our new free smartphone and tablet app. Simply search 3 words, Eat, Drink, Explore, either in Google Play on your Android device or in the App Store on your iPhone or iPad. This free app gives you access to contests, past radio segments, our Facebook and Twitter feeds, and you can watch live video of the radio broadcast while listening to it here on The Crush. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your source for the lifestyle you love.
And a very good morning, everyone. I have to tell you, what a pleasure Dr. Robert Hopper is. The author of Stick with Exercise.
That was a fun interview.
Yeah, and it was so nice of him to come up from Santa Barbara to do the interview with us here in studio. I think it always sounds so much better when they're in studio. And he exudes a positive energy, and I really do want to get back with my exercise routine.
Yeah, he's very motivational. You can see, he says he was a coach. You can see why.
You can see why. He's got that sort of where he just gets you going, you know, which is what a coach does, of course. And we want to say congratulations to Ryan. He was our winner, and consequently from Santa Barbara. So
I know, how funny.
Coincidentally from
yeah,
not
yes.
consequent. Coincidentally, Patty, I'm surprised you can catch me on that.
I just agreed with you.
If you have been checking the headlines recently, you have seen that California dairy farmers are having a hard time keeping in the green because it all has to do with a complicated set of pricing, as I understand it. And as you know, milk prices have shot up in some cases, and there's a lot behind all of it. And we're going to find out what that is exactly, because we have on the line with us right now Mike Marsh. He's with Western United Dairymen, and can give us some insight into the situation that's facing California dairy farmers right now. Mike, welcome to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here. And every time I flip through my Google News feed, I always seem to see one article that talks about this problem that's facing the dairy farmers here, and it's the consumers too, because they're facing milk prices that are changing. What is it? What's the number one thing? Is it the feed costs because of the drought?
It is indeed the feed costs, and actually, the issue with feed costs for the farmers is twofold. One is U.S. ethanol policy, which today diverts over half of the corn crop produced in the United States into ethanol production for blending into gasoline. And then, secondly, the double whammy was, of course, the drought that followed on the tails of the ethanol policy. So, unfortunately, there's far less commodity available for the farmers to feed their cows.
Now, as I understand it, in a typical business model, if the feed costs are going up, then like for instance in a restaurant, if the cost of lettuce goes up, then they charge more for their salads. Like it just goes that way.
But charging more for milk is different, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. The prices for milk, not just in California, but around the rest of the United States, are essentially established by formula by government agencies. In California, our prices are set, our minimum prices are set by the California Department of Food and Agriculture. So the farmer can't necessarily pass along the additional cost that of what it's taking him to produce the milk along to the consumer. Instead, the farmer has to wait until prices rise in order to recapture some of that revenue back from the consumer side. But unfortunately for the dairy farmers, there really is no means to transfer that additional cost that he's experiencing directly onto consumers.
So what situation are we in right now? Is there a push in Sacramento to get the pricing model changed to help these struggling farmers right now?
Well, our association has petitioned the California Department of Food and Agriculture 3 times in the past a year and a half, trying to increase the prices paid to dairy farmers in the state of California. We did receive a modest increase in this past spring as a result of one of the hearings that we'd asked for, but unfortunately it simply was not enough because the feed costs have simply skyrocketed skyrocketed upwards far faster than milk price recovery has come.
I was looking at an article on this saying that some farmers, that little small increase amounted to like $500 more a month for them. That really just didn't make a dent in their issues. And this article also says 300 dairies so far have shut down as a result of this.
300 California dairies?
That's what it says here.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very skeptical at the 300 number. It appears to me that I'm not going to be surprised if we lose 100 of the farms in the state this year. We started.
So you think 300 is a little high?
I believe so. I've not seen any data to suggest that it's that extraordinary. But given that, we're going to lose about 7 to 8% of our farms this year in the state of California. And that comes after the horrific losses we had in 2008, 2009, 2010. The farmers simply have not had any respite since this ethanol policy in the U.S. has demanded more and more of the crop of corn to go into ethanol production. And farmers in the Midwest, in order to take advantage of that higher corn price, have stopped producing as much soybeans. So at the same time that the corn price has gone up, so has the soybean cost. And now that they've taken that land out of production also to plant more corn, then the alfalfa price has gone up as well. So the farmers just haven't had any respite from the Great Recession of 2008 to 2010.
There are some grass-fed only milks on the market now. Those are not as affected as those that are fed the corn because of the situation, or not?
No, those will be affected as well, because the dairy farmer will also augment, if he's an organic producer, for instance, and he's primarily a pasture-based operation, he will supplement his ration with his livestock, with his cattle, with corn or soybean meal. As long as it's certified organic product, he can provide that to his animals. And he'll do that in order to actually enhance the production of the milk that he's producing, but also it helps take better care of the cow.
Now, is the solution here as simple as raising milk prices and passing it on to the consumer, or does something need to be done about the ethanol? Is it does it require a more complex solution to make this work for California dairies?
Well, I think you raise a really good point. It is more of a complex solution that we're looking at, because it does have a number of different factors. Ethanol policy in the United States, fortunately, some of the tax credits that were going to the major oil companies like ExxonMobil, BP, et cetera, expired as of December 31st, due in large extent to efforts by Senator Feinstein. And at the same time, the tariff on imported ethanol was allowed to expire. But unfortunately, the thing that's really still catching us up on this ethanol issue is the mandate for using so much ethanol into gasoline. And historically, what has occurred is that the next generation of biofuels, or next generation of ethanol, perhaps coming from waste products, waste wood products, and that type of thing, has been chilled because of these subsidies that have been in place for a number of years.
Right.
Now, we got to transition away from that to get to a situation where if we're going to have oxygenated fuels, let's figure out a way to use materials that aren't food and stop putting food into our fuel.
Who is it that thinks that the ethanol is a good idea? Because a lot of environmentalists certainly don't. And where's that coming from? Where's the big push coming from?
Well, it's pretty good politics, and if you're a corn farmer in the Midwest.
Right.
And so, of course, the government, having established those mandates, they're the ones that can turn them back. Now, there has been a petition filed with U.S. EPA Administrator Lisa Jackson in light of the drought and the consequences of the drought to temporarily waive the ethanol mandate. But, of course, she's getting a pretty good pushback from the folks who run the ethanol plants in the Midwest and also those that are out here in California, the Renewable Fuels Association. Now, the ethanol is one part of it for the farmers. They do need additional revenues as well, and we're going to see milk prices go up because the market's starting to anticipate that it's going to become more scarce as more farmers, not just in California, simply can't afford to produce milk anymore, and they will be going out of business. We're seeing a contraction in the nation's dairy herd as these very high feed costs are pushing farmers out of business, and the farmers, just in order to be able to buy the next load of grain to come into the farm, are in many cases having to sell off some of their cows into the beef market in order to compensate for the feed they have coming into the farm. So it's a really a very serious cycle that we're in right now.
So, Mike, to clarify, earlier I was reading on Google here while you were talking that 100 dairy farms, as you say, projected to close. 300 cattle farms projected to close as a result of the same thing that dairy farmers are going through in California. So that clarifies it a bit. But what you're talking about, it doesn't sound like there's a simple solution that's going to happen in time for these farms.
Unfortunately, for many of the farmers, it won't be in time. Our new Class 1 price for milk the processors use to put into the jug that you buy at the supermarket, those prices have really spiked for November. And but unfortunately, even though that price is moving up, you have to wonder, given the drought and the ethanol policy in the United States, whether or not even though your milk price may go up, are you going to have enough money to pay for your feed?
Is this uniquely California, or are other large dairy states like Wisconsin facing the same situation?
It's particularly acute in California because most of the feedstuffs we buy, we import from the Midwest. If you're a dairy farmer in Wisconsin, you're probably growing most of your own corn.
Right.
In California, if you're a dairy farmer, you might be growing almonds or wine grapes or walnuts or pistachios or some other type of permanent crop. So we don't really grow a lot of corn here in California because of the relatively higher valued crops we do produce.
Yeah, not feed corn anyway. We produce the corn that you buy at the grocery store
Put on your table,
for yourself, right?
Yes.
That's true.
So, as I understand it, California is the #1 dairy producing state. Are we in danger of losing that title because of this?
Well, not for a while, but at some point, if this trend continues, that could be the possibility. And that's been a real concern of mine, is that we're starting to see some of the infrastructure in the dairy side, the producer side of the dairy industry, starting to go away because as some of these dairies have closed. Instead of having a new owner with new cows coming into the facility, right. These dairy farms, the barns are being bulldozed, the corrals are being taken out, and permanent crops are going in, like almonds, walnuts, pistachios, and wine grapes. So.
Mike Marsh with Western United Dairymen, thank you so much for the update. This is something we'll be following, and as the situation changes, we'll have you back on.
You're welcome. I enjoy real California milk.
All right, stay tuned, everyone. We have a travel deal just for you, our listeners, coming up in just a couple of minutes. You're listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. Back in a moment.
That perfectly cooked egg. or just a hot cup of coffee. Maybe breakfast is a full bowl of cereal and some fresh orange juice. But whatever you're eating, you want to know what's in your food. That's why so many of us, from the California Nurses to Sierra Club to the Consumer Federation of America, say yes to Proposition 37. 37 just gives us the right to know if genetically engineered ingredients are in our food. Prop 37 puts simple information on packaging, so we know what we're really eating. These genetically engineered foods are already labeled in nearly 50 other countries. We just want the right to know what's in our food. Join us in voting yes on 37. Find out more at carighttoKnow.org. Paid for by Yes on 37 for your right to know if your food has been genetically engineered. Supported by consumer advocates, makers of organic products, and California farmers. Major funding by Mercola.com Health Resources, LLC, and the Organic Consumers Fund.
Hi, this is Vanessa North, owner of Lewis Wine Bar, San Luis Obispo's new popular downtown destination for local wines and craft beers in a gorgeous lounge setting. The wine list at Lewis refreshes monthly, offering approximately 50 different wines from SLO, Santa Barbara, and Monterey counties, with about half available by the glass. Lewis Wine Bar isn't just about the wine, though. Craft beer lovers will find themselves in heaven with our extensive list, including 4 rotating draft handles and scores of interesting bottled brews. Lewis has a light menu of appetizers, including cheese, salami, and our famous bacon s'mores. Here's something you don't hear every day. We welcome outside food, so you can bring your farmer's market cuisine or order local takeout and eat it right here at our bar. So whether you're a slow local or just passing through town, we always welcome you here at Lewis Wine Bar. To find out exactly where we are, you can check us out at lewiswinebar.com. That's L-U-I-S, like San Luis Obispo.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
Eat, Drink, Explore Media is your lifestyle information source. Our focus, food, wine, craft beer, travel, and tourism trends, with a slant towards sustainable and healthy options. Whether it's hot deals or tips for hotels and flights, an update on what's currently fresh at your local farmer's market, with the latest restaurant and beverage news, we've got you covered from 8 to 10 each and every Saturday morning. Live on Crush 92.5 in San Luis Obispo County and online at eatdrinkexplore.com. Also, check out our new free smartphone and tablet app. Simply search 3 words, Eat, Drink, Explore, either in Google Play on your Android device or in the App Store on your iPhone or iPad. This free app gives you access to contests, past radio segments, our Facebook and Twitter feeds, and you can watch live video of the radio broadcast while listening to it here on The Crush. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your source for the lifestyle you love.
You waited all week, and it's finally here. The Eat, Drink, Explore Weekly Travel Deals Extravaganza.
And good morning, everyone. 8:49 the time here on this Sunday morning. Sunday Fun Day. I'm your host, Randall White. Patty Pyburn joining me as well. Hello, Patty.
Good morning.
If both of us seem a little bit off today, there's a really good reason for it. We broadcast live from downtown San Luis Obispo, and right outside our studio this morning was the start of the City to Sea Half Marathon.
Mm-hmm.
There was no parking, and there was no coffee to be had. Our studio is directly above a Pete's
Conveniently.
Coffee. Yes, Pete's Coffee and Tea is directly below us. The line was a mile long,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't have that caffeine.
It was a half marathon long.
It was a half marathon long, exactly. Exactly, Patty. But Cora is downstairs right now. She's our producer and the woman who works
Emergency
the phones.
caffeine is on the way.
I can't wait till it arrives. So it is time to hear insight from the best of the best, the gurus of bargains, the luminaries of budget travel. And this week we have an Eat, Drink, Explore exclusive for you. Lynn Mettler joins us right now from, I believe it's Missouri. Is that right, Lynn?
Indiana, you're close.
Indiana, I'm sorry. we're there in the nation's heartland. So you're in Indiana, and you represent a number of different resorts around the nation. You contacted me and said, "Hey, we can get you some pretty good deals." And I said, "Well, let's talk about it on the air then." I love the idea. And the one that is specific to us to Eat, Drink, Explore is the Rustic Inn Creekside Resort and Spa, which is in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
That's right, yes.
So what makes this property special?
Well, it's right by the Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, and it has some amazing cabins, some with fireplaces where you can stay. It's just a beautiful property. It has a spa on site. And, of course, as we're headed into the winter season right now, what everybody, is thinking about in Jackson Hole is skiing.
Yes.
So that was the deal that the Rustic Inn put together for Eat, Drink, Explore listeners. It's called the Free to Ski package, and it's 4 days, and it includes, or 4 nights rather, 3 days. So you get to stay in one of their luxurious cabins. You also get a 3-day pass to the Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, which is where all the skiing takes place, and they have a couple mountains that are range from beginner to advanced. You also get transportation to and from the skiing, and then as well as to and from the airport, and then you get a hot buffet breakfast daily.
Nice.
So the pricing on that starts at, for one person, $765 for 4 nights, or for 2, it's $1,093.
And anyone who's done any skiing whatsoever can tell you that's a good deal. That's a really good deal.
And I'm looking at the website for the Rustic Inn. I've been to Jackson Hole. It's been years ago. But what a beautiful property.
It looks like it's all individual cabins, sort of, along those lines.
Yeah, they do have a main guest house as well with some rooms, but lots of the cabins as well.
Now, for our listeners to get this, the Rustic Inn Creekside Resort and Spa folks put together the keyword San Fran. SANFRAN. San Fran is what you want to tell them if you call 800-323-9279. Also, the web address for that is, do you have that in front of you, Lynn?
I have it right here.
Yes, it is Rustic Inn at JH, as in Jackson Hole.
Oh, okay. rusticinn@jh.com. All this information for every single place that Lynn mentions today is at eatdrinkexplore.com. Just click on radio and then the program summary right there at the top.
Okay, so that's a really cool one. Where are we heading off to next?
So let's go across the country to East Coast and warmer weather. So quite the opposite, but we've got a couple in South Carolina. So the first one I might talk about is in historic Charleston, which I used to live there. It's an absolutely beautiful city. If you love history, nowhere else in the country can you literally walk through living history, buildings, that were built at America's founding, and Fort Sumter is right there, which is where the Civil War began. So this property is called the French Quarter Inn, and it's right in the middle of the historic district. It's nearby to the City Market, which is a popular tourist attraction in Charleston, where you can shop for a variety of wares. And so this one gets you 3 days and 2 nights at this hotel. And one thing I love about this property is when you check in, you get champagne and ladyfingers. And then for your turn-down service at night, you get warm cookies and milk.
Wow.
I love it.
Very nice.
I like that, too. That sounds fantastic. I understand Charleston is just incredibly charming.
It really is. There's many things to do. This package gets you 2 carriage ride tickets through downtown, which is a great way to see it, the way it was originally built and how people traveled, in the 1700s and whatnot. So, and you also get to go to the South Carolina Aquarium, which is a more modern obviously tourist attraction, but focuses on kind of low country sea life from that area. And you also get a gift certificate for lunch at a nearby restaurant, so you can get some good local seafood, and you get a continental breakfast each morning as well.
All
so
right.
the pricing for that is $269 per night plus tax, and you actually can use the San Fran code for that as well.
Oh, good. And then our final location is the Palmetto Dunes at Hilton Head. I've not been to South Carolina, but Hilton Head, is that sort of like Hamptons South?
It is kind of, yes. It's an upscale location. They've really maintained all of the kind of architecture, and even like down to like Wendy's and Walmart has to look a certain way to be on Hilton Head. There's lots of golfing there. So Palmetto Dunes is a great resort that has just almost unlimited activities for all ages, from golf to tennis to biking and kayaking and fishing. And so they put together, because this is a great time of year to golf, is in the fall down there. Your temperatures are more mild, and then you don't have the crowds from the summer at the beach.
And the humidity wanes a little bit, right?
It does. That's right. Yeah, it's a beautiful time to be down there. So they put together what they call the Fish and Chips Golf and Fishing Package, and it combines golf and fishing. This time of year also, as far as fishing goes, it's redfish down there. They're spawning, and so you can catch some really big trophy reds, they say, down there this time of year. So this gets you 3 nights, and it's for 4 people. You get a round of golf for each. You get a $100 gift card good for dining at the golf grills at the resort. You get 2 hours of kayak rentals. They have a beautiful inland lagoon system that winds through the golf courses, and you get bike rentals, as well as 2 hours of tennis court time daily.
Wow, that's a lot.
So,
what's the total for 4 people?
A lot. For 4 people, and it starts at $16.85 for 4, and that's a savings of more than $800 off their regular pricing.
That's an amazing deal. Remember the code SanFran. All this information at eatdrinkexplore.com. Just click on radio, and it's right there for you. Lynn Mettler, thank you so much for putting all that together for us.
No problem.
And my best to everyone there in Indiana.
All right, thanks.
All right, stick around, everyone. Our Compass Hour is next. The word is life. And Patty and I have some great stuff coming up for that.
Can't wait.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network here on this Sunday morning. Back in just a moment. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
Yes, indeed. And thank you, Kira Clapper, for that nice introduction. I am your host, Randall White, joined by Patty Pyburn each and every Sunday morning. Hello, Patty.
Good morning.
And I just had my first sip of coffee right here. Wait, let me just take one more. Delicious Pete's Coffee from right here in San Luis Obispo, Higuera Street. And they're not a sponsor or anything. They're right below us. So
it's convenient.
The problem is there was a huge crowd outside. In fact, if you're watching us online right now, Ricardo has some video that he can play of the crowd that was right outside our window. And if you're watching the video, you can see why we are just now getting our coffee, because there was a half marathon that was taking off in front,
and lots of coffee drinkers out there.
Yeah, and what did Patty said? The line to get coffee was a half marathon long. Exactly. Hey, this hour of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio is brought to you by Eberly Winery in Paso Robles, open daily from 10 in the morning until 6 in the afternoon with complimentary. There's a four-letter word for that, free, F-R-E-E, wine tasting and cave tours, voted by Wine Spectator as one of the best tours on the entire Central Coast. And that really is saying something when you consider how many hundreds of wineries we have. Eberly Winery, located on 46 East in Paso Robles. Find out more information on their website. Log on to eberlywinery.com, E-B-E-R-L-E winery.com. All right, Patty, what was I just saying to you? I said we can talk about that in the show. Oh, I know what I wanted to mention.
I'm so glad I could help.
The coffee has not kicked in yet, clearly. What I wanted to mention, anyone who is trying to find us online today,
yes.
People are running into some problems with our website because it is undergoing an upgrade. But unfortunately, as that happens, if you have some links that you've saved, like to go directly to our radio page and that sort of thing, those links are changing just enough that it makes the old link no good anymore.
Right.
And so I'm
sorry. So if you like bookmarked it.
Yes. That's not easy to say.
No.
So you'll have to redo your bookmarks. And I really did not want to have to do this, but in order for us to change the whole backbone of the site and make it really
better?
more user friendly and better in the future, we have to do this. So I apologize. We've heard from a number of listeners this morning, viewers online, who say,
what's going on?
Yeah. So if you're really having a hard time, just listen over the radio on Crush 92.5 or
the old-fashioned way.
Crush925.com is how you would hear it. Right, the old-fashioned way. You can, or tune in radio also on your phone. The feed comes directly from Crush. That way you can do it too. You can use our app. That's an easy way to do it if you have a tablet or a smartphone.
Some options.
So many options. All right, well, like I said, our compass word this coming hour is life, and based on that word, we will be talking about political life, and we'll stay bipartisan on this one, but our political life revolves around wine on this, and we'll explain how that works exactly. And then we will talk to an author from the Central Coast, the Monterey area, book Teaching from the Tap. And it's exploring life through visiting breweries. I just love that concept. And so when the author contacted me a while back, I said, absolutely. But she was headed to Germany to go to Oktoberfest.
To explore life through German taps.
So I said, well, you just come on the show after you're back from Germany and we'll chat about your book. And it's a fun read. And then staying in Monterey County, we will head to a museum there that harkens back to the rural life that John Steinbeck may have spoke of in a few books or two. And I have driven past this location a zillion times, had no idea, first of all, that it was a county park, and secondly, that they had this complex of museum buildings there. So that is now high on my list, and we'll learn about that as well. Plus our Trivia Smackdown. That's the fun part that Patty and I love so much. That's coming up next. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. On this Sunday morning, I'm your host, Randall White, joined by Patty Pyburn, and we're back in a moment.
Eat, Drink, Explore Media is your lifestyle information source. Our focus, food, wine, craft beer, travel, and tourism trends, with a slant towards sustainable and healthy options. Whether it's hot deals or tips for hotels and flights, an update on what's currently fresh at your local farmer's market, or the latest restaurant and beverage news, we've got you covered from 8 to 10 each and every Saturday morning. Live on Crush 92.5 in San Luis Obispo County and online at eatdrinkexplore.com. Also, check out our new free smartphone and tablet app. Simply search 3 words, Eat, Drink, Explore, either in Google Play on your Android device or in the App Store on your iPhone or iPad. This free app gives you access to contests, past radio segments, our Facebook and Twitter feeds, and you can watch live video of the radio broadcast while listening to it here on The Crush. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your source for the lifestyle you love.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network, live every Sunday with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Fabulous.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
And a very good Sunday, fun day morning to you, 9:06 now the time. Glad you could be here with us to start your, for most people, it's the second day of their weekend. And it's that day when you're like, oh, well,
I know, it's almost over.
But that's okay. We're supposed to have some fantastic weather here in California throughout the, in the upcoming days. Hot. So if you don't like hot, sorry. But today will be a nice day, that's for sure. We are coming to you live from California's Central Coast. Each week, we bring you current information on food, beverages, and travel trends so that you can get the most out of your life. This is our Compass Hour. And what we do is we take one word that we call our Compass word, and then all of our guests are based on that word, and all of our trivia, which Patty and I throw some questions back and forth at each other and see who can answer them the most accurately. We're not sticklers for accuracy.
You have to just be in the ballpark.
That is right. Speaking of the ballpark, way to go, Giants. Okay, so just had to throw that in there. Sorry about the A's. At any rate, our guests this coming hour include author Meredith Canham Nelson. She wrote the book Teaching from the Tap, Exploring Our Year in Beer. Life Lessons from a Year in Beer. I knew I was going to get that wrong because I left the book at home. It's right next to the bed where I was reading it.
You were reading it.
And so I don't have the subtitle right in front of me, and that's, don't always remember that one exactly. And then, let's see, we also will learn about a unique museum in Monterey County that you probably drive past when you're heading up and down the 101 and just didn't realize it was there. We'll point you in that direction. And then we'll take a look at political life. Specifically, wines associated with political life. And if you're watching online right now, I'm showing you the bottles. One is for the, wrong way. One is for the Republicans. One is for the Democrats. So it doesn't matter which of the two major parties you belong to. There's a wine for you. And we will be talking about those coming up in the next segment. But for this particular segment, it is time for our Trivia Smackdown. And Patty,
it's on.
It is on. I will let you take it away with the first question.
Okay, well, our word is life, and there were so many different ways. Life magazine, the Facts of Life. Remember Facts of Life?
Oh, you take the good, you take the bad, and put them both together, and there you have the Facts of Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Anyways, I chose to go this route.
Okay.
The Game of Life board game, originally made by Milton Bradley Wynn.
Oh, you mean you want me to pick an exact year?
You can be in the ballpark. You can be within decades. I'll take decades.
All right. I'm going to say the 1950s just because it had the car and the nuclear family and all that kind of stuff. No?
No.
Oh.
But I didn't know this either until I started doing some research. 1860. 1860. It was called the Checkered Game of Life, and it resembled a checkerboard.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And well, let's see, 1860. So you had little carriages instead of cars, and pooper scooper for the horses.
It was a little different.
I guess so. Okay, so Life cereal is what my little thing here, and I started the waiting music a little early there. Life cereal ran an ad campaign for 12 years, from 1974 to 1986, featuring 3 brothers. Mm-hmm. What was the catchphrase one of the older brothers said to the younger brother when the boy actually enjoyed the cereal put in front of him?
Mikey likes it.
Okay, so this is where you didn't get it exactly right, but I'm going to give you the bell. Okay. The answer is he likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Mikey.
They were real-life brothers. That I didn't know.
Oh, I did not know that.
The kid's real name was John Gilchrist. That's the actor's name. His brothers' names, which I kind of find funny, were Michael and Tommy. So actually one of the older brothers was Mikey.
Not the little one.
Not the little one in real life. And Mikey was 4 years old at the time. They never changed that ad. They just ran it for...
It worked, obviously, right?
You would never run an ad campaign for 12 years now. But they did then. Anyway.
They were on to something.
Yes. All right,
okay,
Patty.
So going back to the board game. In the original Game of Life, the checkered game of life.
Okay.
Players move from space to space after rolling what?
Oh.
Because you were saying they would be different back then.
So today's version, you'd roll dice, right? So back then, you would roll in the hay. I don't know. I don't know.
That was a different game.
That was a whole different game. That's the Game of Life. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. A teetotum. A teetotum.
What is that?
Six-sided top. You spin it. It was sort of like a
dreidel?
Dice.
Oh.
Sort of like a dreidel. They didn't want to use dice because that was bad and associated with gambling, and this was a family game.
How funny.
Yeah.
Oh.
So no roll in the hay either.
Well, that's how you make a family. All right. So Miller High Life. Okay, Miller High Life, brewed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, changed its slogan in 1902 to which of the following? It's Miller time, the champagne of bottled beer, or it's the water and a lot more. Miller High Life, 1902.
What was the first one?
It's Miller time.
It's Miller time. That was way more recent, I think. Champagne of beer.
Patty Pyburn, you... That's 2 in a row. I haven't gotten anything yet. Yeah, the answer.
But you might get this next one.
Well, the champagne of beer slogan was really popular nationally. That's when the beer started to pick up nationally. But it wasn't until 1972 that the company, you were right, began the It's Miller Time ad campaign, and that shot the beer into the top 10, and it's been there ever since.
Wow.
The champagne slogan now on the bottle just says the champagne of beer. The original one was the champagne of bottled beer. So there's a little extra info for you. All right, Patty.
Okay, so in the original Game of Life, back in 1860, the players started at infancy and ended at a happy old age. That was the last square.
Okay.
A happy old age.
And so I'm supposed to tell you what the old age is?
In the more modern version of the game, which you're right, the 60s was when the version became that we now know. It's gone through some changes, but that's the one that we all know. So what does it end with? The more modern version of the game ends where?
I'm going to say it ends at a Del Webb retirement park in Arizona.
I'm going to give it to you. It ends with retirement. And you know what?
Oh, okay.
It ends at retirement. And AARP was not happy about that.
Oh.
They said, you know what? Life does not end with retirement.
Right.
For some, it's just the beginning.
It's just the beginning.
It's time to eat, drink, explore.
Right. I like it. Thank you, Patty. Okay, Food for Life Baking Company. It's based here in California. Has one of the most popular health breads in the entire country. The recipe is based on a passage in the Bible that calls for using sprouted wheat, barley, beans, lentils, millet, and spelt. Which book, and you might just know this by shopping at Trader Joe's or wherever you shop, which book in the Bible is that reference found?
That's a tough one.
You've seen the bread, and when I tell you, you're going to be like, oh, yeah.
John?
John bread?
Psalms?
Okay, wait a minute. We have to give Patty the official... No. Ezekiel.
I would never have gotten
Ezekiel
that one.
4:9. And
Leviticus? No.
the company says that by putting these grains and legumes together, you get a complete protein with all 9 essential amino acids.
They were on to something back there in Ezekiel.
Exactly. Okay, stick around, everyone, because up next we are talking political life. But don't worry, we're not going to get into anything too scary. We're talking wine. And you're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Back in a moment. For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your lifestyle information source.
Hi, this is Vanessa North, owner of Lewis Wine Bar, San Luis Obispo's new popular downtown destination for local wines and craft beers in a gorgeous lounge setting. The wine list at Lewis refreshes monthly, offering approximately 50 different wines from SLO, Santa Barbara, and Monterey counties, with about half available by the glass. Lewis Wine Bar isn't just about the wine, though. Craft beer lovers will find themselves in heaven with our extensive list, including 4 rotating draft handles and scores of interesting bottled brews. Lewis has a light menu of appetizers, including cheese, salami, and our famous bacon s'mores. Here's something you don't hear every day. We welcome outside food, so you can bring your farmer's market cuisine or order local takeout and eat it right here at our bar. So whether you're a slow local or just passing through town, we always welcome you here at Lewis Wine Bar. To find out exactly where we are, you can check us out at lewiswinebar.com. That's L-U-I-S, like San Luis Obispo.
I don't recycle. I mean, we can just find another planet for your kids to live on, you know?
Noted non-recycler Tommy Crenshaw talks about the future.
Oh, I can totally see finding another planet that can support life when ours fills up with trash.
Log on to YouGottaBeKidding.org and learn about all the ways you can recycle, unless you're into lame excuses like Tommy's.
Hey, recycling's just not my thing. Starting over on a new planet? Now that's exciting.
Don't be that guy, unless you want people looking at you funny. Log on to YouGottaBeKidding.org.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
Eat, Drink, Explore Media is your lifestyle information source. Our focus, food, wine, craft beer, travel, and tourism trends, with a slant towards sustainable and healthy options. Whether it's hot deals or tips for hotels and flights, an update on what's currently fresh at your local farmer's market, or the latest restaurant and beverage news, we've got you covered from 8 to 10 each and every Saturday morning. Live on Crush 92.5 in San Luis Obispo County and online at eatdrinkexplore.com. Also, check out our new free smartphone and tablet app. Simply search 3 words, Eat, Drink, Explore, either in Google Play on your Android device or in the App Store on your iPhone or iPad. This free app gives you access to contests, past radio segments, our Facebook and Twitter feeds, and you can watch live video of the radio broadcast while listening to it here on The Crush. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your source for the lifestyle you love.
The birds are chirping. It's Sunday morning. Early bird gets the worm. Everyone up and
Or,
at 'em.
in your case, the wine.
Early bird gets the wine. You had to get to the studio early yesterday to get a hold of the wine we had. It's delicious, and our guest is here to talk a little bit about it. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network, and we're glad to have you here. Our compass word today is life, and for a little bit on the show, we don't get political too often, but it is time to discuss a political life. But but this is just nothing but fun.
Right.
So if you're watching us online, I don't know how easy this is to see, but Patty and I each are wearing ties. One red with elephants on it, and one blue with donkeys on it.
Mhm.
It's just the color coding. We just
It went with our
outfits.
Yes.
But if you squeeze the bottom, I'll squeeze mine first, Patty. Okay, so that just said Schmore wine, and then clearly that's an elephant. And Patty, go
Here
ahead.
goes.
Uh-huh. And then a donkey noise, of course. We're
That's
talking
the donkey.
Republicans and Democrats. One thing they have in common for sure, they can argue about a lot of things, but just about across the board, they love
can
good
share
wine.
some wine.
That is right, and that is our focus today. We are bringing Leah Cannon with Schmore Wine into the mix right now, and a very good morning to you, Leah.
Good morning, Randall. Good morning, Patty. How are you today?
Good morning.
Yes, fantastic. First of all, thank you for sending the wine. It was really nicely packaged, and for people watching via Ustream, we have a picture of it. I took it out our window from our studio yesterday, and I spent so much time lining it up,
arranging.
and because I became so intimate with these bottles, I thought one of them's got to be opened. And then if you can hear,
And now two of them are empty.
both of them. Well, I wanted to be bipartisan, so I
You had to have both.
so I had to open up both. But this I will say, they're delicious. And for people that don't know, one of them is called elephant wine. One of them is called donkey wine. They both say vote on the label. And once again, something all parties can agree on is get out there, get yourself educated, and vote. Right,
And-
Leah?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is a great way to encourage people to get politically involved, at least involved with their wine. Where do you make this Schmore wine? Where does this come from?
The wine is bottled at Terravant Winery in Buellton.
Okay.
So it's a good Central Coast wine. And
Yes.
what is the composition of the grapes?
Most of the grapes are 2009 Central Coast Merlot Syrah. There's about 10% Cab Sauv, Cab Franc that was aged in French oak. And to smooth out some of the tannins, we added about 2% Viognier.
The Viognier must be what makes it so smooth then, because
Yeah.
that was all of our response was this is a really nice light wine that you could even serve with seafood, a red that you could serve with seafood for sure.
Smooth like a
Right.
politician.
But it has a nice strong backbone. So if somebody wanted to keep it and age it or keep it for nostalgic purposes, they could do that and then open it in 10 years and it would still be fantastic.
I found it kept running at the mouth, which was also a lot like a politician. Running into my mouth, I guess, was what it was, what it was doing. Leah, how did you come up with the idea to market this during the political season?
Actually, I started this about a year ago. It just took so long for the trademarking, so long for BATF permit approval. But I've always wanted to promote wines for special events. So the next wine you see from me will also be something regarding another big event, and then also I'll have wines for holidays in the future. But this was the biggest event I could think of for this year is the political race.
Yeah, and they were serving, the Republicans were serving the elephant wine in Florida. The Democrats were not serving the donkey wine because of all those crazy rules regarding shipping wine, right?
Right. Well, in Florida, it's fairly easy to get a liquor license, so I was able to send a case over there. But actually, some of the wine didn't get in the right hands, so I don't know who exactly ended up with it. But the licenses in a lot of the states, it's about $1,000 for a shipping license in a lot of states. So it's very difficult to make this wine mainstream, which is what I had wanted. But But that's okay. There's more for everyone
More
else
for us.
who can find it. Yeah, find it online.
Well, it's really fun, especially at this time of year. And we were kind of joking around that, we were having a political party, a wine party,
Hey, yeah, if you can have a tea party, you can have a wine party.
Right.
So-
Exactly.
Now, what's behind the name Schmore?
Oh, that was funny. We my partner Peter came over and we sat there and looking at the Secretary of State to create the partnership. And so I said, well, how about more wine? Well, that was taken, and he was joking, how about Schmore wine? So he types it in, and he misspelled like more with the E, so he started spelling Schmore without the E, and that's the only time he has ever spelled Schmore right, and the rest of the time, or wrong, and the rest of the time he spells it right, because he's always putting money in the account and he's misspelling it. So, but it was just funny. It was just it came up in like 2 seconds, and it just stuck because he typed it in, he pressed enter, and that became the name.
Is there a Schmore tasting room in Buellton?
No, there is not. No, you have to buy both bottles and taste them for yourself to see which one tastes better.
And you have to be an educated voter, right? So you have to try both.
Exactly.
Well, I would imagine, Leah, that there are a number of I don't have to imagine, there are a number of campaigns just here in California alone that might want to serve bottles of this at their victory or their wound licking parties.
Either way, you're going to need some wine.
Exactly. There was a famous quote by Napoleon. He said, "In victory, I deserve champagne. In defeat, I need it." So they both need this wine.
I do need to remember that one. That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Are you getting interest along those lines? Because there are wines that you see all the time that have funny labels and logos,
Right.
and I've tried them, and I'm like, oh, like that.
It's all in the label, and that's it.
Yes. This wine, I must have, if I said it once, I said it 10 times last night. I'm like, this is good. It was really good.
People tend to keep things that mark famous events. So I wanted to make sure it was a wine that people would enjoy, that they would still enjoy for years to come.
Yeah.
And along with saying this is good, he kept just saying Schmore. Schmore.
Well, we were joking about that. We would love it for all the restaurants, and when they ask people if they would like more wine, for them to say, "Would you care for Schmore wine?" And then we'd become like the household name. So just like Kleenex is to tissues. So
that's why I had too much last night. All I was doing was pronouncing the name of the winery.
Oh, it wasn't too much. I promise it was. You didn't have.
They kept refilling my glass. I'm like, no, Schmore wine, and they're like, okay. No, it was. We had such a great time enjoying it, though, and I wish you the best of success with this, Leah. Do you have a future event in mind? What would we look for next?
Valentine's Day or Thanksgiving.
Oh,
ooh, Thanksgiving! You got to get on it.
Yes.
How can people?
Not this coming Thanksgiving. It takes too long for trademarking and BATF COLA approvals, but. So,
how can people follow this and check for future events?
They can follow us on Twitter, or they can follow us on Facebook. We're on Facebook, Schmore Wine, or just go to our website. We have some YouTube streaming, or not streaming, but YouTube videos on our schmorewine.com page.
And
so
that's SCHMOR, because we don't want people misspelling it, as we know can happen. Schmorewine.com.
We bought the other domains just in case people misspell it. Because
That's smart.
Since we misspell it, we assume others will misspell it. So
I have Eat, Drink, and Explore. I have Drink, Eat, Explore, Drink, Eat. Just in case. Leah Cannon with Schmore Wine.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
We really appreciated having you here this morning. All right, stick around, everyone. Our compass word is life. We just had a little political life. Now we're going to get into the beer life and touring breweries as a way to learn about it. That's right. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network on this Sunday morning, 9:28 the time. Hope your day's off to a great start. Plenty of sunshine for your Sunday. Back in a moment.
Hi, this is Vanessa North, owner of Lewis Wine Bar, San Luis Obispo's new popular downtown destination for local wines and craft beers in a gorgeous lounge setting. The wine list at Lewis refreshes monthly, offering approximately 50 different wines from SLO, Santa Barbara, and Monterey counties, with about half available by the glass. Lewis Wine Bar isn't just about the wine, though. Craft beer lovers will find themselves in heaven with our extensive list, including 4 rotating draft handles and scores of interesting bottled brews. Lewis has a light menu of appetizers, including cheese, salami, and our famous bacon s'mores. Here's something you don't hear every day. We welcome outside food, so you can bring your farmer's market cuisine or order local takeout and eat it right here at our bar. So whether you're a slow local or just passing through town, we always welcome you here at Lewis Wine Bar. To find out exactly where we are, you can check us out at lewiswinebar.com. That's L-U-I-S, like San Luis Obispo.
Hello, this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I want to tell you about my new favorite discovery, Yosemite National Park. I recently went there with my husband and children, and we walked the trails to see the breathtaking waterfalls, admired the grand meadows, and giant sequoias. But the future of our national parks is uncertain. Many challenges face our parks today, from polluted air and water to development threats outside their borders and inadequate funding to protect our national heritage. That's why the National Parks Conservation Association recently completed a decade-long assessment of the challenges facing our national parks, along with proposed actions that will ensure our children and grandchildren will be able to enjoy the parks as we have. Our national parks have inspired Americans for nearly 100 years. As we approach the centennial of the National Park Service in 2016, please join us in helping to protect our national park legacy. Find out how at www.npca.org.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
This is Betty White. I know you don't need one more thing to worry about, but listen, high blood pressure can cause kidney damage, blindness, heart attack, stroke, and you can have high blood pressure even if you feel all right. 1 in 7 adults has it, but it's easy to get your blood pressure checked, and you can treat it if it is too high. So don't worry about it, don't ignore it, just see your doctor and check it out.
For your free booklet, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Here now is your fabulous host, Mr. Randall White.
And a very good morning, everyone. Great to have you joining us on this Sunday Fun Day, 9:33 the time as you get up and get going. I imagine, let's see, it's 9:33, so 2 hours ago, here in San Luis Obispo, right underneath our window, was the start of the City to Sea half marathon. So I imagine How long does it take to run a half marathon? Some of those people have already arrived in Pismo
For me
Beach.
or for other people?
Patty, you'd be about to South Higuera by now, but what?
I'm sure I would have stopped somewhere along the way.
Yeah, the really fit people, they're already in Pismo, I would imagine, huh?
Right. I think so.
I don't know how long a long a marathon takes.
Randall, a half marathon is
13.1 miles.
Okay, so you do know.
I only know that because I asked someone on the way into the studio. You know, I knew if they're running it, they would know. So
yes,
I just
of course.
Said, how long are you running?
Where are you going?
Where are you going, and why could I not park right outside? That was the big concern. So, like I said, everyone, good morning. Great to have you joining us. No matter where you are, if you're up in Santa Cruz, San Jose, Monterey County, San Luis Obispo, or northern Santa Barbara County, you will have some nice weather today, right, Patty?
Oh, yes. Nice, sunny, clear skies, warming up, getting warmer as we head towards Wednesday, but it should be great today.
A good day to find a nice local microbrewery. Most microbreweries have patios. I was
going to say, a nice patio where they serve beer.
Yeah, a nice, cool beer. You'll definitely want that on Wednesday when we hit temperatures near the 100-degree mark in some places.
Stop reminding me.
Oh, I know. Mid-October, I'm done with the warm weather. Like, I just want to it felt so nice to have that rain and a little cooler.
It was a nice change.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our next guest is an author, Meredith Canham Nelson, and she joins us in studio right now to talk about her book, Teaching from the Tap. Welcome to the program, Meredith.
Thank you.
And you will be doing some beer drinking here in San Luis Obispo later on, I assume, because all of your trips revolve around beer. Is that right?
That's right.
And you just got back from Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not in your book. Your book came out prior to the Germany trip. But did you have a good time? You went there for Oktoberfest?
We went there just to visit friends, and we did go to Oktoberfest, and that is a festival that you just can't miss. It is amazing. It's huge.
We have some pictures for those watching online via our Ustream of one of them. Do all the beer glasses in Germany have to hold half the town? And they're like,
I know.
They're huge.
No.
But the ones you were holding were
yes.
rather large.
At Oktoberfest, there is only one size.
Yeah, Patty.
So that's what you get.
Patty and I did some news stories leading up to Oktoberfest. They were worried whether they would have enough bottled beer. But did you find?
Was there a beer shortage?
Was there a beer shortage?
No, and I was a little curious about that because it's not bottled beer at Oktoberfest. So
they're typically pouring, and you're getting it in a big stein, in a big stein in your case.
Yes, yes, and I won't tell you how many I drank that
day. What happens at Beer Fest stays at Beer Fest.
All right. Now let's talk a little bit about your book. You were living up in the Bay Area, and you were trying some of the wonderful beer operations that are there in the East Bay. Like you were in Berkeley.
We lived in Oakland.
And so you had Triple Rock there. You had what's the one right there in downtown Oakland? I used to go there all the time, and now I can't think of it. At the cute little building downstairs.
Right, and I can picture it Pacific
Coast Brewing Company. Yeah, and so you had all these different places. Then you started to work at a location, and people wouldn't really ask you the questions about the beer because you were a woman.
That's right.
What's that about?
Well, that was about 20 years ago, and everyone was a student of craft beer at that time because it was just starting to get going again. Yeah. And there was an assumption that women didn't know much about beer. So often I wasn't asked questions, or if I asked a question, they would answer to my husband. It's like, well, I'm the one who answered that. I'm the one who asked the question.
Right.
So I didn't want to be a dumb waitress, basically. And if I was going to work at a place with beer, I wanted to know the beer, and we decided that the best way to do that was to go visit the breweries themselves.
Research.
That's right. That's right.
And also, if you're doing something you love, the saying that you don't work a day in your life, it's great that you found something to do that you both of you absolutely enjoy.
Yeah, and I would have never guessed at 20 years ago that it would have turned into the just full-on obsession that it is now.
And it's an obsession on both parts. We should mention that your husband has a website, thebeergeek.com, right? And then you can get the book through that website, and we have links for you at eatdrinkexplore.com. I need to update those after the show's over because I have some side issues, but that's a whole separate issue.
Website under construction.
Website under construction. So then at what point did you get the light bulb moment that said, let's spend an entire year traveling around the nation, checking out breweries and write a book about it?
Well, we actually originally wanted it to be a TV show. We had fantasy of, being on a travel show, and quickly realized that we didn't really know how to do that.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. And so we kind of rethought it, and I'm the better writer, so we decided that I would write a book about it.
Yeah. And you started your very, very first trip took you to Alaska?
Yes, Alaska in January. And I was a little worried about that.
That is dedication.
Yeah.
But you know what? Is that year it ended up not being as cold as I thought it would be. So I was a little disappointed because I had, this idea that I'd be telling all my California friends that I was, freezing my buns off in Alaska. And it actually was it was warm for them.
Now,
nice.
The subtitle of your book is Life Lessons in Beer, right? Do I have that right?
Year in beer.
Doesn't it say life? What is it? I don't have it in front of me. It's next to my bed, and so I
Life Lessons from Our Year in Beer.
From Our Year in Beer. Thank you. Okay, so what sort of life lessons did you learn from a year in beer?
Well, for example, with Alaska, it was follow your heart, because this was a crazy pipe dream that we had for this whole year, and this was the first trip, and it was like, wow, this is fantastic. We had such a great time that it really it really said to us what the whole year was going to be about. And if we hadn't followed our heart and just went ahead and did it, then it would have never happened.
So true. People have to follow their heart.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you went obviously to a lot of places. What's like the craziest, farthest, wackiest place you went?
During the year in beer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I don't know if any of them were particularly wacky. We did go to Germany twice.
Okay.
We went to Belgium. And I didn't like Belgian beer initially. And so this is why experiencing beer within its own context and going to the places where it's brewed is important, because that's how I discovered, I actually really like this.
Oh.
And that happened more than once. So
I'm not a giant fan of Belgian-style beers made in the United States. I find the banana ester taste too strong, and something about it just really turns me off. I cannot stomach it. But when I was in Amsterdam, they are so close to Belgium there that they had a lot of it on tap, and I found that I liked it. Same sort of situation.
Yeah, and one of the things that we did do, to answer your question, Patty, is when we went to Belgium in December, we visited all 7 Trappists in 10 days.
Wow.
And that was quite a feat. We thought that was kind of the holy grail search of beer.
This is where the monks make beer.
Yes. And we couldn't actually go into all the breweries because one of the rules for Trappist beer is that it needs to be brewed either on the site of a monastery or at least under the supervision of a monk. And so they're working monasteries, so we can't go in them.
That is interesting.
That
is.
So they just turn you away, or you knew about it ahead of time?
There's big gates, so
Oh.
you can't get in.
You found out.
Makes it perfectly clear we're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And so, is there a second book coming up? Or do you have another year in beer, or what's the plan?
Well, we spend our whole life savings plus on the year in beer, and so I'm not sure that we'll be able to do that again. But we definitely still travel, and so it's the wheels are turning in there. So we'll see if another one comes out.
Well, what I like about the book is your honesty and style of writing. You really tell the reader what you're thinking, and you're very honest about misconceptions you may have had and things that other people might be embarrassed to write about, but you just put it down there. No, I don't mean that like in a bad way.
Personal and honest. Yeah.
And, you know what? And that's actually the feedback that I'm getting. Even my friends are like, seriously, that's the way you were thinking? And it's like, yeah. And they kind of laugh because I am quite shy and insecure, and they just laugh because they're like, what? That's not true. So that's why I ended up being life lessons, because I learned so much, and I actually really changed and am a lot more outgoing now than I was previously. But it was meant to be a personal story, a travel log, which there isn't anything like this out there about beer.
No, there's not. It's a very unique book, and I think people will find it very entertaining to read through the different lessons that you learned along the way and learn some of their own while they're reading yours. We only have a short time left. Darn it, I don't think we really... the first guy that you met was from Dogfish Head Brewery, and that was a really great moment in the book, I thought. And
you can leave them hanging. They'll have to read the book to find out what you're talking about.
I just had their gluten-free strawberry beer the other day, and it's made with the guargum or sorghum. It wasn't my favorite, I'll just say, but their other beers are fantastic.
Yes, well, you were very brave to try that one. Okay.
Yes, author Meredith Canham Nelson joining us in studio to talk about her book, Teaching from the Tap, or as I typoed here, Teaching from the Tap. But Meredith, thank you for being in studio with us today. We'll have to grab a beer later.
Yes, thank you for having me, you guys.
Stick around, everyone. We're taking you to a very unique Monterey County museum right after this break.
That perfectly cooked egg, or just a hot cup of coffee. Maybe breakfast is a full bowl of cereal and some fresh orange juice. But whatever you're eating, you want to know what's in your food. That's why so many of us, from the California Nurses to Sierra Club to the Consumer Federation of America, say yes to Proposition 37. 37 just gives us the right to know if genetically engineered ingredients are in our food. Prop 37 puts simple information on packaging so we know what we're really eating. These genetically engineered foods are already labeled in nearly 50 other countries. We just want the right to know what's in our food. Join us in voting yes on 37. Find out more at carightToknow.org. Paid for by Yes on 37 for your right to know if your food has been genetically engineered. Supported by consumer advocates, makers of organic products, and California farmers. Major funding by Mercola.com Health Resources, LLC, and the Organic Consumers Fund.
Hi, this is Vanessa North, owner of Lewis Wine Bar, San Luis Obispo's new popular downtown destination for local wines and craft beers in a gorgeous lounge setting. The wine list at Lewis refreshes monthly, offering approximately 50 different wines from SLO, Santa Barbara, and Monterey counties, with about half available by the glass. Lewis Wine Bar isn't just about the wine, though. Craft beer lovers will find themselves in heaven with our extensive list, including 4 rotating draft handles and scores of interesting bottled brews. Lewis has a light menu of appetizers, including cheese, salami, and our famous bacon s'mores. Here's something you don't hear every day. We welcome outside food, so you can bring your farmer's market cuisine or order local takeout and eat it right here at our bar. So whether you're a slow local or just passing through town, we always welcome you here at Lewis Wine Bar. To find out exactly where we are, you can check us out at lewiswinebar.com. That's L-U-I-S, like San Luis Obispo.
What do your status updates say? You're learning a new language? Going all organic? Instead of typing your feelings, what if you could put them into action? By creating a network to help keep kids off the streets. In a country like Armenia, or in Honduras, bringing IT into the classroom, or on a farm in Tanzania, helping stem the world's food crisis by creating a sustainable agricultural program. What if every ounce of your being helped update the status of a person, and in turn they did the same for you? Would this be enough social interaction? Or is this only the beginning of something larger? Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps. Get interactive at peacecorps.gov/game.
Eat, Drink, Explore Media is your lifestyle information source. Our focus, food, wine, craft beer, travel, and tourism trends, with a slant towards sustainable and healthy options. Whether it's hot deals or tips for hotels and flights, an update on what's currently fresh at your local farmer's market, or the latest restaurant and beverage news, we've got you covered from 8 to 10 each and every Saturday morning. Live on Crush 92.5 in San Luis Obispo County and online at eatdrinkexplore.com. Also, check out our new free smartphone and tablet app. Simply search 3 words, Eat, Drink, Explore, either in Google Play on your Android device or in the App Store on your iPhone or iPad. This free app gives you access to contests, past radio segments, our Facebook and Twitter feeds, and you can watch live video of the radio broadcast while listening to it here on The Crush. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your source for the lifestyle you love.
A very good Sunday morning to you. Boy, we just opened the window behind me here because the studio is getting kind of warm. We've got lights on and a lot of people and that sort of thing. And I thought, well, we need some fresh air in here. So I opened the window. Wrong. It's warm out there. Really, really warm. In fact, the temperature right now, according to my... it shows 66. That can't be wrong. That can't be right.
That can't be
right. It has to already be in the upper 70s because the air outside is far warmer than the
It is warmer.
air in here, and it's only going to stick with us for the next several days. Right, Patty Pyburn?
Yes, through Wednesday. We've got a warm up in California.
I'm your host, Randall White. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. This is the final segment of our 2-hour show that airs live on this station each and every week. We're glad you found us, and we're wrapping up our Compass Hour. The word is life, and we are taking you to a rural life. In fact, Monterey County's Rural Life Museum and Agriculture Museum as well. Jessica Potts is the program director there and joins us live on the phone right now. Hi, Jessica.
Hello.
Nice to have you with us. I have driven 101 through King City. I don't even want to count how many times because I grew up in the Bay Area. I went to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. So during that period of time,
many trips back and forth.
Back and forth. And then my later career in life has me doing the same thing. And so I drive right past it. I looked down there at the Salinas River corridor. Had no idea, A, that there was a county park there, San Lorenzo Park, right?
Yes.
And then that there was this complex of buildings that make up the museum.
Yes.
Do you have a lot of people that are surprised that it's there?
We really do. It is truly the hidden jewel of Monterey County, I believe.
And you have some fun events coming up too, which is another reason why I wanted to have you on the program. Let's talk about that first. What is what event do you have coming up this month?
This Friday, we have our ghost stories and local lore. We've got a little kids area that's down in a kind of a woody area that we're going to turn into a haunted wood, and we're going to have a big bonfire and have a couple storytellers that are going to tell some ghost stories that are featured from this area.
So famous or people from the Monterey County area who didn't want to leave after they were dearly departed, they didn't depart.
Exactly.
They like the place. It's nice.
I like that. And a bonfire, and it just has that fantastic setting there as well next to the river.
Yes.
So is it fee-based?
Well, it's going to be $5 a person, but it's free for all of our members.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool. Now, I was just kind of looking through your website because, like Randall, I have passed through there many times, and I never realized that you guys were there.
You're a former Monterey County resident.
Yes, I lived up there, and when I started working down here for a long time, we kept our house in North, and we would go back and forth. So many trips back and forth. There's a Spreckles house there. I find that interesting. The Spreckles
Sugar
town, yeah, Spreckles. There's a town of Spreckles right there outside of Salinas. But so was the Spreckles? Were they actually growing sugar beets near King City?
No, it was located south of Salinas. It was built in 1898, and it was moved to San Lorenzo Park in 1980.
Oh, got it. Okay. Interesting. It's a cute little place.
It's adorable, yeah.
And so on the property there, you have the Spreckles house. And for people that aren't familiar with the history of it, Spreckles is a type of sugar like C&H, like a brand that originated there in Monterey County.
It was one of the largest factories in the world at one point.
Whoa, okay.
Yes, and they built that little town of Spreckles, which is a cute little historic town. And you know what? They actually started developing Coronado Island, where the Del Coronado is, that family.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Patty's a wealth of information this morning. That's why I have her as a co-host. I love that. And then you also have a train depot.
We have the actual King City train depot that was located down on 1st Street, and it was moved to San Lorenzo Park in 1989. And so it is the actual building that has been restored.
Really? Okay. And so, and then what do you have in addition to those two?
We also have a beautiful one-room schoolhouse, a little Gloria schoolhouse that was built in 1887 that we actually do a lot of school tours in. We also have a history of irrigation building. We have a functioning blacksmith shop, a harvester shed, a cook wagon. So we have quite a bit.
Is there still an operational one-room schoolhouse in right outside Salinas on your way to Watsonville? I think you pass a.
Yeah.
It looks to me like there's still an Can you imagine going to a one-room school like that? But that's the way it was, and that's the sort of history people learn when they come to the museum complex, right?
Yes. It takes kids, into what it would have been like, at the turn of the century, as opposed to how it is for them today. So it's a really great educational opportunity.
Where do most of your student tours come from? Directly Monterey County or from neighboring, even up in the Bay Area?
For the most part, just Monterey County. But we see probably about 1,200 students in a 3-month period.
I bet that's a really interesting experience for students to visit this property and be able to compare what their life. I'm sure they're all, holding smartphones and, things.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
To make that comparison.
So I love that Monterey County embraces and celebrates its agricultural history because for the longest time, and including up to modern day, you have been the nation's salad bowl.
Yes.
And so what are the primary crops now in Monterey County?
Well, you've got the grapes that are coming up, of course, and you've got a lot of romaine and peppers and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And Greenfield's got its broccoli.
Yes.
Do they still have the broccoli festival? You passed that sign, and it used to be like an animated broccoli that was saying, Greenfield, home of the broccoli festival.
No, they haven't had that for years, but I believe that they have a harvest festival or something like that now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because when you're driving along the 101 from King City all the way through Salinas, it is one crop after another. And then we had the artist on, John... those large murals that you see?
Yeah, larger-than-life people in the hills and stuff.
Yes, we had him on the show like a month or so ago,
I
want to say. And great guy and really interesting. And that, too, ties into the celebration of Monterey County's agriculture history.
Yeah.
So the park itself does not just have the museum complex. What else can you do there at San Lorenzo Park?
It's got a beautiful camping facility, full-service, full hookup RV camping.
Overnight camping.
The normal camping is all on grass, so it's not like you're out there, on the dirt. It's really, really nice. It's got a full bathroom with showers. It's got, like a little miniature golf course.
Is there river access?
There is river access. There's trails. There's hiking trails that take you down by the river and back in the back. There's quite a bit. We've got a gazebo that people could get married in. I mean, there's a lot that's offered here at this park. It's a very large county park.
Your website's an easy one. What is it?
www.mcarlm.org.
And that's Monterey County
Agricultural and Rural Life Museum.
There you go. Jessica Potts, thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing your part of Monterey County history.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Next week, we are learning about hemp.
Ooh, okay.
Edible hemp. I put it in my oatmeal every single day, which might explain my behavior. No, I'm just teasing. But it is incredibly healthful. And so we'll be talking about that next week here on the program. Until then, stay cool over the next several days, everyone. We really appreciate that you started your Sunday morning with us. Patty Pyburn, Randall White, Anthony Renaro, Ricardo Teodosio, and Cora Adama putting this show together for you today. Get out there, eat, drink, and explore, and enjoy your life.
You've been listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio program. If you missed any of our segments today, look